Center demo. Now, the next thing we want to have a look at is hybrid security monitoring for your environment, right? And there are a couple of scenarios where we can actually go, and we have a couple of different products here available which you can leverage in your environment. So how we attach hybrid workloads which are running outside of Azure is by using an agent, right? So we're going to deploy a agent on these hybrid operating system workloads, and depending on the operating system itself, we can then send the, different security log data to, for example, Azure Log Analytics, and then also to Azure Sentinel. So what we can do here is we can actually go out and, for example, send Windows security events with a connector to Azure Security, to Azure Sentinel. We can also send for different connectors for identity to actually send on-premises Active Directory domain service telemetry to Azure Sentinel. We also have one for Microsoft Defender for endpoint to stream the alerts to Azure Sentinel. And then for Linux, we also have connectors for Linux operating systems that can forward syslogs and other data sources basically to Azure Sentinel. Azure Sentinel then is a service, is a cloud-based SIEM solution, which can go and analyze this telemetry to detect and hunt and then prevent and respond to threats against our hybrid operating systems. Again, Azure Sentinel is basically a hybrid service running in Azure where we can connect different sources. You also have, for example, connectors from different hardware, network gear, vendors, which can also send logs there. So it's a really one place to get all your security logs together, and then you can do some analysis and threat hunting there as well. So to have a quick look on how that could look like in a more architectural way, you can see here on the left side we have resources living outside of Azure. These can be, again, if you look at it, on-premises systems. These can be running on your infrastructure, can be physical machines, or it can even be on like Azure Stack as well. And then we can also onboard workloads which are running at other cloud providers. And then they can be basically collected and then connected to Azure, to the Log Analytics workspace. And then you can take advantage of things I just showed you, like Azure Security Center or Azure Sentinel, which will give you that advanced security, these advanced security services. So I think it's quick time for a demo about hybrid security monitoring. And again, this is not just necessarily about security monitoring. It's like I want to show you a little bit how monitoring in general can work for your hybrid systems. So what I'm going to do here is we're back in the Windows Admin Center, and we are going to onboard a server to a Log Analytics workspace. And then we're going to use the keyword query language to basically do queries against these logs. And we're going to show you that you actually can get everything out of these logs from different systems, everything you actually added in the connector. And then you can go through and get all these logs out. Doesn't matter if it's security logs or performance logs or system events, whatnot. And then you can then do different things like create dashboards, or you could create security alerts, and much, much more. So let's get started first. We move to the Azure portal and let's create a new Log Analytics workspace. We showed you that many times in Windows Admin Center, but for now, let's create a new Log Analytics workspace actually in Azure. Again, in production, you will probably use the same one. So we give that a new resource group. We give that Log Analytics workspace a name, and we select the region where the Log Analytics data is stored. Pricing wise, this is basically pay as you go. So the more logs you send into the Log Analytics workspace and the more you store, the more especially will that service will be costing. And so we create that deployment process, and this will create a new Log Analytics workspace.